In today's show, the Blazers are playing the hits. After rallying back from a double-digit deficit with a furious fourth-quarter comeback on Monday, they did it again on Tuesday and yet again came up short. Let's talk about crunch time, how they got there, and how to avoid another one of these after their loss to the Magic. Welcome to Locked On Blazers. Let's get into it.
You are Locked On Trailblazers, your daily Portland Trailblazers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's up, world? It's past first point guard and Trailblazers reporter Mike Richmond. Listen to another episode of Locked On Blazers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, available wherever you get podcasts and also on YouTube. Thanks for making this show your first listen, coming at you each and every weekday, Monday through Friday. So make it a part of your daily routine. Make it your first listen. Tell your friends to do the same. Locked On Blazers, your team every day. In today's program, aw, shucks. Blazers lose to the Magic 110-106 in a game that was eerily similar to the game they just lost to the Detroit Pistons the night before. Second night of a back-to-back, playing a good team in the East, not quite as good with the Magic, but still like a team that's going to make the playoffs, etc. Blazers trail for three quarters, fall behind big in the third, have a furious comeback in the fourth, take the lead very briefly, and lose. Neither team could do enough neither team could do much in the final 2.5 minutes of this game offensively, but the Magic did just enough, and the Blazers again came up short, failing to execute and to capitalize on some opportunities. It is what it is. Let's do it. Let's do what we do. We will get into our fastest recap in the West. I want to take you to some post-game scenes, from the podium with Thiago Splitter to the locker room with Deni Avdija and Sidi Sissoko. And then we'll close the show talking injury updates. I don't really have an injury update, but we haven't talked about it in a while, and the Blazers' just lack of dudes it remains a thing. In this game, still no Jeremy Grant, who's now missed 3 consecutive games with this Achilles injury. They're calling it like tendinitis. He basically has a sore Achilles, and now he's missed a couple games. The Rob Williams, second night of a back-to-back, he's not playing. I think you could have made the case that maybe you sit Rob against Detroit and play him in this game, but that's not what they chose to do. So no Rob, no Jeremy Grant, no NBA point guards. It is time to play the basketball game with the gentlemen that you have. Yet again, Chris Murray steps into that starting lineup for Jeremy Grant, and the Magic rip off an 8-0 run right to start the game. Thiago Splitter has to take a timeout less than 2 minutes into the game, but the Blazers come back. They make it. They make a game of it, and they go into the second quarter down 4, 21-25. They hung with it. Because of playing the second night of a back-to-back, and because Deni played so many minutes the previous evening, and because I believe he didn't say it exactly, but it seems like Shaedon Sharpe was at a rough second night of a back-to-back minutes cap. They weren't trying to run up his minutes. Splitter will say and we had guys with minutes limits, and then not expand on that. So I believe he was talking about Shea, who they didn't want to run up. He played 26, and I think it was probably right up against his sort of hey, play him about 25 minutes. But the Blazers experimented with lineups, including that first quarter, playing Caleb Love, Ryan Rupert, Sidi Sissoko, Tumani Kamara, and Duop Reith. And then they took Duop Reith out and played Love, Roops, Sidi 2, and Young Hansen. Wow. I'm glad. I'll talk about Young more in the second segment. But Blazers up 4, in the second quarter. Blazers up 4 down 4 after 1. They go into the second quarter down 4. And Sidi Sissoko early in the quarter takes a tough spill. He goes up for a dunk, misses the dunk, and then he's kind of hanging on the rim, and in a way that's he probably hung longer because he missed the dunk and he tried to reach and grab the ball. He ended up getting called for goaltending, actually, and kind of gets bumped while he's up there, sort of undercut by Anthony Black, and falls down a really scary fall at the time. Fell on his head, goes back to the locker room, ends up coming out 6 minutes later, but less than 7 minutes later, he's back on the court. But it was a very scary moment there. Hansen, I thought, in this first shift just had maybe a little too much dip on his chip. He was just trying to do a lot of stuff. I thought he came back in the second quarter and he played just another normal sort of second quarter shift, and I thought he was totally serviceable. He's not he's still struggling, and and I think on defense you see it more than other places. But like, yeah, I thought in the second quarter he was a totally normal shift, and I thought it was the right thing to do. They started with Duop in there. I didn't think Duop played particularly well against the Pistons. I don't think his first shift against the Magic was particularly good either. I'm a Duop fan. I like him as a person a lot. But he's just like, he's not going to make threes. He's not really going to offer you a whole bunch. He's got to do that to be the sort of change of pace type of stretchy big, and he wasn't that, and he's not going to bring much on defense, and he doesn't do much else on offense. So it was like a great game to give Hansen a run, like the perfect situation to just say, like, yeah, if this dude's on the team, let's play him. And he played 8 minutes, and I thought his second quarter shift was by far his best. Blazers going to halftime down 63-50. Caleb Love had 10 points in the first half. Shaedon Sharpe 10. Denny also had 10 as well. But the third quarter kind of gets away from the Blazers. They trail by as many as 17, and then they were actually down 14 late in the third quarter, and closed with a 5-0 run. The Magic in the first half hit 10 threes, 10 of 18, but weirdly were 10 of 28 on twos. They could not make 2-pointers, but were cashing in threes. And then in the second quarter, they finally started to make twos. They only missed one, but they stopped making threes. They went 3 of 10. But they also committed 9 turnovers. Like, the Magic left some meat on the bone. They're playing really shorthanded too in this game. They don't have Jalen Suggs, who's out. They don't have Franz Wagner, who's out for an extended period of time. But they're also missing Goga Bitadze, who had played the night before. Tristan Da Silva missed this game, who's been a useful part of what they do. Like, the Magic are pretty shorthanded to be certain. They had 11 guys on the bench. They didn't have a full. They much like the Blazers did not have even a full roster to trot out there with, like, on the active list. So, like, the Blazers down 14 late in the third, closing a 5-0 run. It's a 9-point game heading in the fourth. It feels like it's there for them. Like, the Magic haven't been super good. Paolo Banchero's only taken 5 shots. I thought Toumani Camara, who really struggled on offense, I thought he had a great game against Banchero defensively. And Banchero told Josh Robbins of The Athletic exactly that Toumani was just all over him, and he was unable to get loose. And I thought Tu was really good on defense and just really bad on offense. And they probably need him to be good on both ends, but he wasn't. But his defense mattered in this game. And then the Blazers rip off a 12-2 run to open the fourth quarter. They take the lead on a Shaedon Sharpe little left elbow mid-range jump shot. The Magic started 0 of 8 from the field in the fourth quarter. Their only points came on a couple Desmond Bane free throws. And the Blazers, including that run to end the fourth quarter, or the third quarter heading into the fourth, they ripped off a 17-5 run to take the lead. And they have a lead with over 8.5 minutes to go in this game, and it lasts for a total of 22 seconds. But they're in this game. They're in the fight. And when Shaedon Sharpe, the Blazers actually gave up a bucket, and they push off a make. Sharpe scores at the rim and gets fouled by Paolo Banchero. Great move, great finish. He cuts the lead to 105-107 with 2:23 left. The Magic, who had scored at 2:30, and the Blazers pushed the other way quickly on a Bane bucket, will not make a field goal the remainder of the game, and they're still going to hold on to win. So the Blazers down 2, they get 3 possessions with a chance to tie or take the lead. Denny misses a shot inside, but Donovan Clingan gets the offensive rebound. They kind of swing it back out, and Clingan tries to set like a handoff screen to Shaedon Sharpe in the corner, and it's called for a moving screen on that handoff. I think it was a moving screen. I think it was the right call. But it's like, a miss, an offensive board, 2 chances, they don't score. Magic come down, miss a shot. Blazers come down. Blazers get the ball back. Again, down 2, closing in on a minute and a half left. Shaedon Sharpe kind of gets Tyus Jones on a switch and just can't get past him and has to settle for a tough mid-range jumper. That's a shot that Shaedon Sharpe can make. It's a shot he made earlier in this game at about, to give them the lead. But he just couldn't shake Jones. Jones just stayed right with him, and Sharpe's handle was not strong enough to get where he wanted to go, and Tyus Jones defended well. Shea misses a midi, but the Blazers get a turnover on the other end. So this is going to be their third opportunity to tie or take the lead with under 2 minutes to play. Denny gets a steal on Desmond Bane. He drives the other way, kind of gets stripped on the way up, but Shaedon Sharpe chases down that loose ball, gets fouled as he's going back up. He's going to step to the free throw line with 38.9 seconds left and a chance to tie the game. He misses the first one way short off the front rim. Got to make your free throws. 1 point game, 38 seconds left. Magic go quick. To get a 2-for-1 out of a timeout. And Desmond Bane gets to the right wing and misses another mid-range jumper. Bane missed a mid-range jumper. Tyus Jones missed a mid-range jumper. Bane turned the ball over. Bane misses another mid-range jumper. The Magic left it there for the Blazers to take. It left it there for them to take. Blazers get a rebound. Clock ticking. Bane let it go with about 34 seconds left. So the clock ticking under 34 seconds. Blazers choose not to take a timeout. They're just going to go. Denny gets himself into the paint, finds Donovan Clingan underneath in a crowd, and Clingan goes up to try to get a bucket at the rim, and Desmond Bane, all 6'4" of him, blocks Clingan. Blazers have to foul. Desmond Bane, well, they actually had a foul to give, so they had to foul twice, but eventually Desmond Bane gets to the free throw line. 11 seconds left, hits both. The Blazers had 1, 2, 3, 4 possessions with a chance to tie or take the lead in the final 2 minutes and failed to do so. Made one free throw, missed a couple shots, committed a turnover, and got blocked at the rim. Out of the timeout, Blazers run a nice play. Thought it was a good-looking play. Denny gets a really good look at it. The execution up until Denny shot the ball was awesome. The design was good. They got the ball in bounds. They got probably the guy they want and the place they want him to shoot it. He just rushed it. He took a fading three, moving to his right because he was worried about getting fouled. Splitter said as much after the game, although when I questioned him about it, he was like, I don't think it affected his shot. It certainly did. And Splitter had said, you could say he rushed it in the first part of his answer. So I think me and you both, Tiago, think it affected Denny's shot. And Denny admitted after the game as much that he really did not want them to foul. So he said it was a hard shot, probably could have gotten a better one, but that was what his focus was. I think getting fouled there is better than taking that shot. I think a foul up three situation for where the Blazers were because they had a timeout remaining is a better, if that's the trade-off. He just rushed it. Hasn't been in that situation a bunch. He rushed it. Blazers have to foul. If the Magic make one, they're going to win the game. AB, Anthony Black, makes one. 4-point game, 6.5 seconds left. Blazers missed a shot at the buzzer that wouldn't have mattered anyways. 110-106, that's your fastest recap in the West. If this game felt a lot like a charging back from down 21 to briefly take a 1-point lead against the Pistons and then lose down the stretch because you don't execute, same deal. A little bit later, it was the final 2.5 minutes as opposed to the final 4 minutes, but on Monday, the Blazers led the Detroit Pistons for a total of 29 seconds, overcoming a 21-point lead to briefly take a 1-point edge, and on Tuesday, they overcame a 17-point deficit to lead for a total of 22 seconds to briefly take a 1-point edge. It is what it is. These were two games that felt pretty darn similar, and that brings me to some scenes from the locker room, scenes from the post game, because Tiago Splitter doesn't talk in the locker room; he talks at the lectern in the media room. I want to offer you some scenes from the post game because I think they speak to kind of what happened in this game. Join me in that second segment. We will do just that. First, though, I want to tell you about PrizePicks. That's right. PrizePicks. The holiday season is one of the best times for sports. Bowl games, big basketball matchups, playoff pushes in the NFL. It's all happening at once. And while, all of us are making choices every day, one of the most fun places to make the right choice is over there at PrizePicks. PrizePicks is the easiest way to get in on daily fantasy. Just pick more or less on at least 2 player projections, lock in your lineup, and you're in the game. It's simple, fast, and available all over the country. 45 states, including the great state of Oregon. PrizePicks, listen, it's going to add a new layer to your holiday sports watching schedule. So if you're already watching sports, check out PrizePicks. Creating a lineup takes less than a minute. The app makes the whole process smooth and intuitive, and you can choose from a whole range of unique stats. So if you want to choose how many field goal attempts, more or less on free throws made, more or less on turnovers, whatever fits your strategy, you're going to find it on PrizePicks. Download the PrizePicks app today and use the code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineups. PrizePicks. It's good to be right. All right. If you're an everyday listener to this program, make it official. Join the Every Freaking Day Club. That's the Locked On Blazers Everyday Club. You're going to get an ad-free version of this audio podcast. You are going to get access to the members-only Discord. It's built for our most loyal listeners collectively. Locked On Blazers with no interruptions. $5 a month, $50 a year. Go to lockedonblazers.supercast.com or check the link in the show notes to learn more. Okay, let's talk about this basketball game. It felt like Monday's basketball game, but it was a new one. They played a different team in the Eastern Conference. Not quite as talented as one, but certainly a team nonetheless. The Blazers playing this game shorthanded. Magic are shorthanded too, to be clear. But like, they're playing two-way guys. They're kind of learning on the job. And I think importantly, like one of the tests for this team is how do they respond to this? Because the bottom half of the West is bad enough such that they can get back in the mix if they stick with it and ever get healthy. And that remains to be seen if that will ever happen. But like part of sort of the quest for the Blazers is to not let go of the rope. And so after the game, Thiago Splitter was asked kind of what his message was to the team, right? Because I think that while they're still learning and while they're young and while they're injured, there's all these caveats. Losses suck, right? Like they're not. It's just not fun to get close and lose every night. And the NBA is kind of unforgiving. It can wear on you. It can wear on teams. And so Splitter's message to his team, he said when asked by reporters after the game. I was in the room, and he was only asked by one reporter, and it wasn't me. But like when asked, Splitter said his message was like that these types of losses you can grow from. Because what Splitter liked about this game and about the Pistons game is that the Blazers played hard. They shot bricks against the Pistons. I think that was the big problem. They were pretty bad in the final 4 minutes when it mattered, but like they shot just incredible bricks in the first three quarters and dug this big hole. And then it requires, so much energy, near perfect execution, and probably a little bit of luck to go your way. And the Blazers basically had none of that. They didn't execute very well. They didn't get very good luck. But like, it required just to overcome the 21-point deficit against the Pistons. And then against the Magic on Tuesday, it's the same idea, right? Like you're down 17. You kind of make a little bit of a push to end of the third quarter. It's only a 9-point game. You're in striking distance. Things go your way. You play well enough for it to matter, but then you lose. And so Splitter's message to his team is like, we'll grow from this. Because you are committed to playing hard, because you guys, because he's telling his team, because this group, has bought into the level of effort, and because the most of the mistakes are sort of like skill-based and youth-based, this is the type of thing that when you get sharper and you get more experience and as you continue to get better, the sort of requisite effort it takes, and you can build on these habits that you're forming. That was Splitter's message. It's a little cliched, right? Because you can also earlier when they lost to the Kings last week, the whole message was like, it's nice to learn a lesson in a win. It's much better to learn a lesson in the win. So like, I'm not putting a ton of stock into that, but I think there is some merit to that, right? Is that the Blazers do kind of, they bring it, right? And in the fourth quarter, you see them bring it. I think the why it only happens from minute 36 to 40 or whatever, 36 to 44, I think is maybe a conversation for some other time. But like they got themselves right into this game and then had 4 opportunities to either tie or take the lead with the ball in the final 2 minutes and came up short. Magic didn't even make shots. They just hit free throws and held on. So then after the game, go into the locker room, and Denny Avdia kind of showed a little crack in the facade, as opposed to the sort of coach cliches of Splitter. And I don't blame the coach cliches. You're just trying to get to the next day. And I thought he's probably being honest. I just think the message is maybe a little cliched, even if the message is absolutely what Splitter believes and what he told his team. I think all of those things can be true at the same time. But like, for a brief moment, Denny, who can be a little cliche himself, but I think is certainly one of the most thoughtful interviews on the team, if not the most thoughtful, is that he kind of for a brief moment let down, showed the cracks and let a little bit of truth seep in. he admitted that he's beat up. A reporter asked him, like, how's your ankle doing? And Denny kind of in mid-question kind of smiled and was like, yeah, my body's a little tired, but if, I'm going to get treatment, and if I can play, I'm going to play. And he admitted, like, hey, we're shorthanded. We're missing some good players. As I walked to the locker room, I walked past Drew Holiday and his family. They're all here for Christmas. When I was making my little turn to the locker room, I saw Jeremy Grant and some of his family members. Like, yeah, those dudes were already dressed and gone because they didn't play. I didn't see Matisse, saw him at another point in the game, but didn't see him on that particular walk back towards the locker room. Like, they're missing guys. Denny admitted it. He's beat up. The team is shorthanded, and he mentioned something that I thought was telling. He said that everyone, like, he's tired. It's weighing on him a little bit because this is a new role for him. He is being the primary creator every time down the floor, and he's seeing, he's the top of the scouting report. And not only is he the top of the scouting report in the way that, like, he's getting attention, they're getting creative. They're showing him to a bunch of different bodies and like how they guard him. Okay, it's going to be Jonathan Isaac. Okay, it's going to be, the Magic put different size on him. They put Isaac on him. They gave him a little bit of Anthony Black. They showed him Noah Penda at some point. They tried to avoid some of the Paolo Banchero looks, but like different size. They threw double teams at him, like giving him different looks, right? And he admitted that's a new role. He's adjusting to that new role, and that's probably some of the reason why he's had a dip in his efficiency recently. And Denny was 10 of 25 tonight from the floor. Like he 25 points on 25 shots, not an efficient night from him, and he admitted that. But then he pointed out, like, it's not just him leveling up to this being like the primary guy. It's everybody in a new role. And he kind of nodded down the line where he was sitting in his locker in the corner, and down the line, there's Sidi Sissoko, who stepped up and played a big role in this game. Caleb Love, who I mentioned had a big first half, he played down the stretch, finished with 17 in the game, and hit three threes, and blocked 3 shots. And Thiago Splitter praised his defensive presence, and and I thought Denny gave us a little bit of the truth there. He's tired. His body's tired. The team is beat up and they know it. And everyone has sort of graduated up a level in terms of responsibility. And when you have everybody kind of, getting Peter principled, moving up the ladder in terms of what the ask is, you're going to have these games where you play hard and then it comes down to being sharp. And, that's not a pun, but like being, executing when you need to execute, making free throws when you need to make free throws, getting a good shot when you need to get a good shot with 11 seconds left. And they don't have the experience of doing it. And that's the challenge for them. There's one more scene and a brand new nickname I want to tell you about. Join me in the third segment. We'll do that, and we'll talk a little bit about non-update injury updates. Join me in the third segment, won't you? First, though, I want to tell you about GameTime. It's the NBA season. There's nothing like being in the building. The Blazers are in a stretch of playing 5 games in the Moda Center in 8 days. And guess what? You still got more chances. The Clippers on Friday, the Celtics on Sunday, and then the Blazers close out the homestand on Monday evening. You got chances. Listen, get in the Moda Center. That big fourth quarter run is going to get everybody on your feet. You're going to want to be there with your friends, with your family, and everybody, and that's where GameTime comes in. The GameTime app gives fans the advantage back, making it incredibly easy to score amazing tickets fast, simple, and without the guesswork. Browsing the GameTime app, straightforward, intuitive. Finding tickets takes a few steps. Pull up the Moda Center, search Portland Trailblazers, pull up the Moda Center. A little map of the arena shows up right on your phone. Then what you see is what you get pricing. There are no hidden fees at checkout. When you are browsing the app, what you are clicking on there is exactly what you're going to pay when you go to pay. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA. That's LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Download that GameTime app today and get in on the action. Still a pass first point guard. I'm still Mike Richmond. Still listening to Locked On Blazers. I thought Thiago Splitter's comments were revealing is that he is, as frustrating as this might be, his approach is to lift up his team. We're going to learn from this. And I thought Denny's comments were revealing is that he said, the truth is I'm banged up. got a bunch of dudes injured that would help us win games, and we are a young team trying to figure it out. And part of the guys trying to figure it out are, two-way players and youngsters, and they're playing young Hansen. I thought he didn't play as well in the second half. Competent second quarter, but didn't play as well in the second half. You're playing Hansen, you're playing Ryan Rupert, who's just not an NBA player. You're asking more out of Shaedon Sharpe, quite frankly, to step into a bigger role, although he's done that much more than anyone else in the roster. They need more from Chris Murray. He had a totally fine game with 13 points and 4 boards. They're asking more of Toumani Camara, and I thought he had a really good defensive game, but he's 0 of 6 from 3. They need him to just make shots. There was a stretch where he was really struggling from 3. There was a stretch where he kind of got back and started to look like, oh yeah, Toumani can shoot. He'll be all right. He's now back he's a little bit of a cold spell right now. He's had a few poor shooting nights in a row. Thought his defense was really good in this game, but fair, not fair, whatever. They don't need Toumani Camara to reinvent the wheel. They need him to make standstill jumpers, and when he misses those, he's really tough on offense right now. I thought his defense was good. He's missing shots. They're just not going to win many games when he shoots like that. They need more from him. But, they got 17 from Caleb Love. Sidi Sissoko, he's kind of chaotic, 5 points and three turnovers, but he plays hard. He plays hard. And the defense is there, and he had a sequence where he fouls Desmond Bane, a flagrant foul where he just kind of tackled him, hit him with the shoulder and to stop a play in transition. Bane got kind of mad, rightfully so. And then it kind of fired up the crowd. CD drew a offensive foul on the next possession. He got a steal on the other one. He's hyping up the crowd. He's yelling. He's screaming. He's hyped, right? He's bringing that energy. And this is what the Blazers need. They're what the coach wants. Play hard enough that you can be proud of it. Leave it all out there. And hey, it might just be like this. You might not execute. You might lose games, whatever. But I think the first box, they got other boxes to check, right? And I'm not hunky dory about losses necessarily. I'm not trying to rose colored glasses, but the word from the coach is check the first box of play as hard as you can. Then as you continue to grow, you can feel better about getting to the other boxes, but start there. And I think CD and I think Caleb Love both embody that. Love praises defense, right? They like the way he flies off, chases Desmond Bane off screens, doesn't let his man fly off screens unattended. He blocks shots. He said he never blocked 3 shots in any point in his career, and that's what he knows. To get on the court, he has to be competitive on that end, which is telling for someone like Caleb Love, who's the thing he wants to do is get shots up, and he knows that in order to do that, he has to be competitive on that end. But Sidi Sissoko talking to reporters. Two CD things. This show's going to run a little long. It's Christmas Eve. Deal with it. You're welcome, I think. Sorry to the people who are in charge who want me to cut this a little shorter. Monday evening, against the Detroit Pistons after the game. Sissoko had a good game. He's talking to the media afterwards. In fact, the Blazers planned to bring him out to the podium, in front of everybody, but then they scrapped that and said, all right, we're going to have him talk in the locker room. But it was a big crowd to talk to CD because he had a good game. And he said after that game, he just loves basketball. And he's like, I'd be willing to die out there. I love this. This is what I want to do. I love this sport. And then he falls from the rim with 9 minutes left in the second quarter. And he was asked after the game, were you thinking about what you said, that you would die out there when you fall through him? He's like, oh yeah, I was thinking about it. He has this sort of infectious positivity. He then went on to kind of complain about the refs for a few minutes, which I was like, bro, you're 21 years old on a 2-way contract. Do not complain about the refs. He was kind of riding for Toumani. He's like, Toumani gets a bunch of whack foul calls. You gotta lay off, right? It's no good. It's blah, blah, blah. But CD has this infectious positivity, right? And I asked kind of does everyone share this positivity? He goes, yeah, I think they do, and I try to make sure everyone, is with me with that positivity, right? Because we're young and we're learning, and it's this is what you have to do is you have to stay together and be a family and all these things. You have to, when you are losing, you have to be positive because you can go the other way. It's a great answer. in terms of as long as we're ranking our basketball cliches, probably I'll go Splitter 1, CD 2, and your boy Rip City 2, and Denny 3. But then I learned a nickname that is just, oh man, it's really stuck deep in my brain at this point. On Monday, I got into the locker room a little bit late. I was doing something else. I missed the first whoever talked first. But I get in there a little bit late, and City's talking, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go sidle up, and you got to, if you're a reporter in these settings, you got to sidle. So I'm sidling, and City is telling he's telling whoever is asking him about how he plays and loves the game and all this. And I look over at Duop Reith, who's got a locker couple down, and he goes, "That's the triangle." That's what he says to me. I was like, "What?" He says, "That's the triangle," and he points at City, and I'm like, "Oh, that's an incredible nickname. That's a banger." Now you see, Tumani Kamara makes the box. He puts you in a box. He does a little outline with his fingers. If you're watching on the YouTube video, I'm pantomiming that right now. He's got the box. CD's not quite the box. He's the triangle. Incredible nickname. So tonight I go in the locker room and I said, "Denny, have you heard anyone call CD Sissoko the triangle?" He's like, "No, I don't think so." He said, I said, "I heard it from Duop." He said, "Oh yeah, I think I have heard him say that." But Denny got it right away. He's like, "He's the triangle because he's not quite the square." And I was like, you got it. Like Denny immediately kind of got the joke. And as he's walking by, he says to City, like, "All right, the triangle right here," as he's talking to the media. Denny goes back to take a shower. Then I asked CD and who made that up? He said, "Oh, that's Duop. Like he's the, I think he said he's the president of it. Like he's the leader." And so like CD Sissoko is the triangle. He is learning to be the next guy. And I think that speaks to where the Blazers are right now, is they have this sort of they've got a lot of guys graduating to different spots and trying to become who they are and be, even Tumani Kamara, a young player, he's a little bit older, but early in his career, a guy who got, became second team all defense or whatever, he's got a nickname. I don't think anyone calls him the box, but he's like, that's become a thing that he makes the box. And CD is not quite the box. He's the triangle. Okay, injury stuff. I meant to do this earlier. We went long with our post-game scenes, okay? So here's the deal. Jeremy Grant did not play. He's missed 3 straight games. Splitter said on Monday that he's not worried about it lingering, and said hopefully it's not too long. And now that was after Jeremy was going to miss 2 games. This is going to be number 3. Blazers beat the Kings without him. They lost to the Pistons and the Magic without him as well. They've got a couple days off, Christmas Eve and Christmas, and then they'll play the day after Christmas at home against the Clippers. So we'll see if Jeremy plays in that game. But from the coach's mouth, hopefully it's not too long. He added that he wasn't worried about it being a big deal. It's like he has a sore Achilles, right? They're calling it a tendonitis in his Achilles. The other guys are a real mystery. Drew Holiday hasn't played since November 14th. A week after, he'd missed a week, and then a week after, the Blazers released a press release. He hasn't played in a week. You get a press release. That's no good. At that point, they said 1 to 2 weeks as of November 21st, and then he would be reevaluated. It'll be 5 weeks on Christmas Day from that announcement. 5 weeks on Christmas from that first announcement. So, when asked on Monday, Tiago Splitter said he's working out, but he's not ready to compete. And he's mentioned in the past in a previous pregame last week that they're going to be cautious with Drew, and they really want him to be 100%. What else are they going to say at this point? More on that in a moment. Matisse Thybulle, he got hurt on October 29th. The Blazers released his sort of injury information in a press release on Halloween, October 31st. They said that he would be reevaluated in 4 to 6 weeks. Christmas will be 8 weeks for Matisse Thybulle. And when asked on Monday, Tiago Splitter said he's made some strides, but he's not there. He's not ready. So here's my read on this. They're just not ready. I don't think it's some big conspiracy. I don't think there's what the Blazers do themselves a disservice is that I think, and this is not a defense of the Blazers. I think they do a bad job of this, and I think I can just call it. I think they do a bad job communicating injury stuff. But I also think people get too caught up on the weeks. They say, they said he was going to be reevaluated in 1 to 2 weeks. Then that's like a firm date. That's an estimate. What the Blazers do a bad job of is now that the timeline has doubled, you don't get another update that says like, hey, Drew Holiday's making progress. He's working his way back. He's not there, and he will be reevaluated. There are no updates at this time, and he'll be reevaluated when updates are appropriate, right? Like no initial press release. So then fans just get 3 weeks of being like, so where the hell is Drew? Where the hell is Drew? Where the hell is Drew? And it's like, him and Tease are sitting kind of deep behind the bench, kind of in the tunnel at this game. They're not even on the bench. So it's like on TV, I don't know what the view is, but it's like, do you even see them? Where are they? Right? It's like, the Blazers do themselves a disservice not communicating clearly about those injuries. They're not the worst at it. I think the Clippers are by far the worst. Shout out to the Hornets. I think they're pretty bad at it. I think there's some teams that are just outrageously vague. I'm mostly blaming the Hornets for how they handled Mark Williams' injury. He was just like, well, you'll find out more soon. He's missed like the whole season. So you'll find out more soon. He played like 14 games. But the Blazers did this with Matisse Thybulle last year. It's like he'll be reevaluated. He needs another week. He needs a few weeks. And then it's like he needs 4 weeks. And then at the 4-week mark, it's like, yeah, he's just not ready. He needs a little more time. Then he missed another 5 or 6 weeks after that, right? It was like the lack of communicating. And then there's Scoot, right? And Scoot, boy, does it seem like I just do not know with him. Scoot is just a mystery to me. I see him at the arena. He's there. He's not doing anything. It's like So like before the media was, shortly after the media was let in today, maybe like right around 5:00, Damian Lillard's out there getting shots up, right? He's shooting. He's not going to play this year, but like he's warming up. If you want to go see Dame, like I don't think fans can get in the arena that early, but like he's out there. He's out there getting shots up. He's working out. You don't see Scoot do that. He's not like in shorts at any point. He's just wearing his clothes because he's not doing basketball stuff, it seems like. I would say at this point, I would label him as hopefully January, just like with how little information we have and how little I've like seen even hints of him doing basketball stuff. So when he first got hurt, he got hurt right before training camp, the week before training camp opened. And the Blazers said, like at training camp, it could be 4 to 8 weeks, and then, or in the initial press release, 4 to 8 weeks, and then Joe Cronin said it could be as many as 10, right? So 10 weeks would have been like the third week in November, and then the third week in November, Jason Quick of The Athletic reported that got Scoot on the record, and Scoot just like not doing stuff. He said in that story that came out November 18th, I can walk around to spots, but no jumping, no exploding. I shoot free throws, some ball handling, but without moving much. And I don't know that Scoot has done more than that, but I will say this. The Blazers, again, do themselves a disservice by not providing updates, because what you get is rampant speculation from fans. I'm not... again, I think it's easy to get caught up a little bit too much with it was supposed to be 4 to 6 weeks. That's an estimate. They might be wrong, but not following up when the estimate is wrong, right? It's like, these are human bodies, right? They're human bodies. This is Matisse Thybulle's thumb. We don't know what's going on with it. This is Drew Holiday's calf. He's 35 years old. Like, he's played a lot of basketball in his time. They want to be cautious with him, but the way they don't communicate why they're being cautious or what's happening or what they're doing, it's they could do a job that felt a little more transparent. I know why they don't, because they don't have to based on the league rules, and for competitive reasons, there's just no value in it for them from their standpoint, from a competitive basketball team, to give updates. But from a forward public-facing entity providing updates about players that are compensated to play basketball, unable to play basketball, I think could do them some help. So I don't think we're going to see Drew during this homestand based on what they keep saying. I think Drew seems like a January, right? Seems like the Blazers, they'll play these home games and then out on the road for New Year's Eve in Oklahoma City, one of the great places to spend New Year's Eve. And I'd be surprised if we saw Drew before then. I'd be surprised if we saw Tease before then. I certainly won't see Scoot before then. Maybe we'll see Jeremy back at the end of this week. I think that would be important for him. But if not, could be a lot of games like we just saw, right? Where the Blazers they play hard and they're competitive enough because of they play hard to kind of like vaguely stay in games, but they They just don't have enough talent. And then if they get it close, then it really shows up, right? Because then everything's ratcheted up and you have to execute, and they just haven't been able to do so in close games in a variety of ways. And everybody's learning a new role and jumping up in responsibility and all of those things, and people are exhausted and tired and all of that. And so while I do think Splitter's words ring true, this will pay off down the line. Learning what it takes and going through these losses and taking your lumps will pay off down the line. I think my question here is whether down the line means like MLK weekend and like heading into late January and February, or like 2020, the fall of 2026 or something like that, right? I think there's truth to taking your lumps in the league and young players figuring it all out. But I think the real question is sort of what is the backside payoff here? Okay, an extra long show for you because it's Christmas Eve. Come back for tomorrow's show. That's what we do. Actually, hold on a second. That's not what we do. You're listening to Christmas Eve show. I'm going to record an episode about the Trailblazers reunion, the 99-2000 team being back in the building. Some thoughts I will share on that. That's going to be in your feed on Friday, on Christmas Day, on Thursday. Friday, you're not going to have a show in your feed because I'm not going to record one. I'm just going to record one really late at night right now on Tuesday into Wednesday evening. And then, so 4 shows this week. It's not going to be one in your feed on Friday, unless I get really generous and want to record one after the Clippers game on Friday evening. We shall see. But for now, it will not be your first listen on Friday morning because there just won't be a show there. That's what's going to happen. Tell your friends about the podcast. Tell your friends about the Everydayer Club. If you are someone who listens to every one of these shows in the audio feed, I think the Everydayer Club is a legitimately good deal for you because you get the ad-free version of this feed, this show without interruptions, and you can support me and support the program. So check it out. There's a link in the show notes for this episode. Come back for more shows 5 days a week, except for this week when it's 4, wherever you get podcasts, also on YouTube. I appreciate you listening. I will talk to you soon.